If you watched the last edition of Sailing Fair Isle, I teased you with this. It's an egg, but it turns into this. What everybody with a boat needs, a waterproof drone. Now, anyone that's attempted to fly a drone from a boat knows it's a risky business. I've been doing it a long time. I used to build my own drones before the likes of DJI were around, and I've lost 4 over the years. I think only one of those actually could have been avoided. So it's an expensive business. You're going to end up with things at the bottom of the ocean, and because of that, I actually went out a few years ago, it's probably 5 or 6 years ago now, and spent a lot of money on this. It's a waterproof drone, Swirl Pro. It's utter garbage. It was completely, really unusable. It's glitchy as hell. It flies like a brick. You can get some cool shots like this that go from underwater to above because the camera itself and the gimbal is waterproof, so it hangs underneath.
It's also amazingly noisy and windy. It's like a helicopter.
It looks like a really impressive camera, but it really isn't. It produces horrible pictures. So yeah, that was a really big waste of money on my part buying that. And actually an even bigger waste of money was the last drone that I bought, which was a Mavic Air 2, which never flew at all. I got it, the software has been so glitchy. It tried to do a firmware update, couldn't do it. Then the software they put out for Macs doesn't work. Even on an old Mac it did work, but still wouldn't update. It went to a PC, wouldn't update. Customer support was rubbish. So I looked around for another drone, which is why I came across this one, the PowerEgg X. So this is what this is going to be about. I'm hoping this is going to be a really good replacement for the DJI drones. I'm not going to go with them anymore. And if this performs as anywhere near as well as them, it's going to be a million times better because it has got that waterproof feature. So let's have a little look at what we've got. It's got a little tab here. Which way does that pull? Pulls up that way to show the underneath of the drone. So it's got the usual sensors there. It's got a gimbal guard. So you squeeze that and pull that off, and you've got your camera in there. Looks like it'll go a little bit above horizontal as well. That's all good. So obviously there's some arms that go onto this that to make it into a drone. Inside you've got a battery. It's like quite a big battery. It's supposed to fly for about 30 minutes. Probably won't when it's got the pontoons on or the waterproof gear, I should think, but we'll test that out. SIM card, the SD card goes in the bottom there. Push that on, it's got full flight, so yeah, we can have a little flight of that. The arms here will slot in. They can only go in one way round, and they're sort of dovetail joints in there. You can see it, so it slots in quite nicely, really firmly. You feel it. It's very quick to do. The blades stay on with this. You haven't got that sort of funny twisting on thing, but they are little screws. So if you had to change them, it's a bit fiddly to take the screws out, but I mean, that's fine. You're not going to change them that often. It comes with some spares. Let's slide that on. And once that's on, you can get the top back on like that. And then these come out. And you've got little legs that fold out from the bottom there, and then some pontoons that clip on. They just slide in, and then they've got some little Velcro straps that go around to hold them on, and then it'll float on the water, and we can take off and land from the water. You could take off from just holding onto it as well. You've got something nice to hold onto, so that's quite good. You could just, if you're doing it from the deck of the boat, do it that way. But yeah, should be able to get some really nice footage with that. Obviously, to make it completely waterproof, you have to put this on, so let's do that as well. If you had any chance, I mean, I think every time I fly this over the water, I've lost too many drones now. I'm going to make sure that it is fully protected. So yeah, this is quite easy. It just basically slips in, fits in nice and tight. It's got these really nice silicone seals in there, actually, that have got a little indent as well. So it slides right into that. Push it all the way back, and then you've got this that you fold over the top, and it's quite a push because it's quite tight in there. Put the clip over, that's it, pull that one in, and then you've got 2 more clips either side. So yeah, it's quite firm once you've got it there, and that's That's nicely sealed. Obviously it's got some protective stuff on the front here, so you're not going to get to scratch it. It does come with a nice soft case that you put around this to protect it when you're storing it. You don't want to scratch this up. I mean, obviously with this on, it's not going to be, you're going to get, you know, times when you'll get a little bit of haze if it's sunny in the wrong direction. So some shots you think, oh, you know, just got to be the glare, whatever, it's not going to be there. It's never going to be perfect when you're shooting through perspex like that, but you're not going to lose your drone if it ditches. So for me, that's going to be good. So I want to test and see how much effect that makes on it. But if it's anyway decent, then this is going to be great.
There's attachments on the pontoons that the legs just slot into. Then you hold it nice and tightly with these rubberized Velcro straps.
So let's have a quick look at the remote. It feels solid, well built. On the bottom, you've got the on-off button here for the remote itself. One that says C there is a customizable button. This one's a return to home, and then this one's stop. I think we'll just pause it where it is while you sort things out. So we'll test those out. There's a charging port down there. You've got the two aerials at the top here that click out quite nicely. They are, you know, it's sort of quality built. There's a proper click as everything sort of goes in, it all fits in nicely, they're not just going to flop about. There's obviously the little rotary button there for the gimbal up and down, a separate switch for video and stills to start and stop record, and it's got on both of the sticks a nice sort of rubber seal there, so if you're out of water, you might have water on your hand, so you don't want to drip it in there. It's nicely sealed. I'm sure they're not actually waterproof, these things, but it's going to be splash proof. And to put the phone on, you've got a little bit here that pulls out. Let's say it clicks nicely into place. It's all nice and solid. This comes in there. It's well sprung. I'll hold it, plug it in, and there you go. Feels quite nice. Balanced in the hands, and then it's got this little mode in here which has got P, N and E, which is apparently professional, normal and easy, so we'll see what those sorts of modes do. So let's just fire her up then. Got a nice little rubber button here, so the usual double push on that, hold it, and it'll go through its usual procedure of lining up the gimbal and get this. I'll have to go through on the phone. That's it starting. It's a Vision 2 app is the one I want, PowerEgg.
There's a nice touch on starting the app, where it asks what mode you're using, so when you pick it, it sets the sensors accordingly. We've got the cover and the floats on, so the sensors will be off. Once it's got enough satellites for a home fix, you can fly. It takes off nicely from the water. We'll have to see how it copes with more choppy seas. We can of course take off from the boat. We use the solar panels or just by hand. And that would avoid getting splashes on the perspex, which does happen occasionally. I'll land and give it a wipe. I was surprised how well it flew with everything on, easy and accurate to fly. I'm trying out the auto settings here, and it hasn't coped well with the colours, so I will use manual in future. The drone flies smoothly, but the control inputs are too abrupt in the standard setting, even in the E mode, which should be for smooth flying, so I'll see if I can adjust that as well. I got the odd reflection from the sun from time to time, so it might be prudent to fly a shot you know you're going to need a couple of times from different angles, just in case the sun is giving you that sort of reflection. So a successful first flight, but some things to keep in mind and some settings to adjust.
So nice to have one that doesn't sink.
I've obviously got to set up my battery warnings. That was a return to home landing that you just did there, because it
was it?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That when it went to
It went up to
yeah.
its 20 metres and then did a landing. Yeah, because it's running out of battery.
Okay.
I had no warning. I think I haven't set up the levels properly.
I did try some low light shots as well, and it coped well with them.
So first impressions then, how does it fly? Well, really well. I mean, actually considering that you had the pontoons on and the whole waterproof unit's better than I thought it would fly. It's not going to be as responsive and easy to fly as, you know, Mavics and the like if you're flying without all that gear on. But that's the point of it. It's got that gear for a reason. Absolutely brilliant for being on the boat. I mean, actually, this thing, there were some glitches with the software in the way that I was using it. I've got to look at that and see if I can iron those things out. Like for instance, she did an auto landing at one point because I didn't get a warning up, but I think I need to actually have a look at the figures that I've got programmed in to make that work properly. So I'm going to have a look through again the menus in a minute, because there's some other things I want to try and change a little bit as well. But it really did fly well, and when it did that auto landing, of course, no harm done. It auto landed in the ocean. I could go and pick it up. That would have been a disaster with anything else. So yeah, really good. I haven't flown this yet in its bare mode like this, and there's massive advantages to that. I mean, the flight time will probably be doubled by flying it without the pontoons on, because I looked on here, I've got about 35 minutes of flight, and that was with using 2 batteries. Well, it should get almost that with 1 battery when it's bare, so it's going to affect it quite a bit having that gear on, but I'm happy with that. 15 minutes, I can absolutely get the shots I want, get it back, no problem at all, and have it safe when I'm flying it from the boat. So that's great. When you are flying it like this, you have got other things that you can do as well. It's got the similar things to other modern drones, where it'll do an automatic circle, it'll do a conical thing, or ellipse, all those sorts of stuff. You can just program in, hit the button, and off it'll fly. It won't do that when it's got the shell on, which is a bit of a shame. The auto follow and all that sort of stuff as well, it will be, you know, quite nice. But there might be occasions where, you know, it's good conditions. I want to just fly it in the same way as I did with any other drone, without the waterproof gear on, because I want it to follow me or do whatever. Or you can just do it manually, like I did for that shot that we had in the dinghy. I'm just following along with me, and I'm just on the sticks. It's, you know, it's responsive enough to do that. But anyway, let's have a little look at the menus again. I'm just going to turn her on. Okay, so we've got it started up. I'll put the information here so you can see what I'm seeing. It's a nice layout, I think. Everything across the bottom there, nice and clear. I really like the tilt here, so you've got the angle that you can see nice and clearly on there. You can hit the button in the top left-hand corner and get the GPS view, which is useful as well. So you can sort of see where you've flown, where you're going, program things in. The little one on the left-hand side here, AI, is all the different shots that you can do if you haven't got the bubble on, the waterproof bubble on. I haven't tried those yet. I need to go out and fly and have a little go with those. They will be useful, I'm sure. There'll be some really good stuff in there. It's got the usual auto takeoff, auto return to home, all that sort of stuff. Nice and easy on here, and on the buttons directly on the remote as well, of the start stop for record. It's all there. So, you know, you've got the option doing it on the handset, or just touching the screen if you want to. But let's have a little look at the menus again. There's a few things I want to change on here. Oh, actually, the first one that's come up there, voice broadcast. That's something that is actually quite useful. I didn't really know it had this. I was recording, and it records the sound from the phone that you've got on there. So you can hear, actually, when we're in the dinghy.
There are rocks here though,
That's our voices going through. Now, if I plugged an external mic into this, you get good quality sound. Or you could just use that sound to sync it to a microphone that you have on. So good to get sync sound while you're going from the drone. I think that's a great little idea then. It's just transmitting the sound from your phone back up to the aircraft. So you've got it actually in sync recorded there. So yeah, I'll definitely be trying that one out. If you go on down, usual stuff, beginner's guide, whatever, let's go through. You can turn the sensors on and off there. That's all okay. I mean, the sensors are off anyway when you've got the bubble on, which is fine. I mean, it actually used to wind me up with the Mavic, in that it used to keep turning the sensors back on, and on the boat you come to land it and it won't come in, so it's a bit of a panic. You have to come in and turn the sensor off. With this, it's automatically off when you put that bubble on, so that's actually quite nice. I like that. You can customize the custom button on here, so I'll have a look through and see what I want that best to be. So yeah, that's where it said the flight time 30 minutes. So yeah, that was with 2 batteries, as I was saying. So that's not so good. It's going to cut the flight down a lot having the pontoons on, but you would expect that. That's fine. Next one down. You can do the first person view or follow mode. Usually you want the first person view, of course, when we're flying. Advanced settings. Now I'm going to have a little fiddle with this. See, I sent this down to 0. The gimbal sensitivity came, I think it was on about 8 when we got it. I've tried that all the way down. For me, it's too responsive. Everything at the moment is too responsive. Even when you go into the E mode, the easy mode, which is the one that it flies slow, it's a little bit too quick at the moment for me for filming. I like the cine mode that you had on the Mavics. That worked really well. You go to that and everything slowed down to give you those shots. I think I need to fiddle with this to try and replicate that, because at the moment it's still a little bit too active for my liking anyway. So where was that joystick control? I think it might be here, right up in the first menu, control stick exponential curve. So you can see that's just how much you move the stick, to how that relates to how much the craft will actually move. So I want that to be slow. I want to put a little bit of stick movement in it to just really slowly start going. So I think certainly with a turn left, turn right, I'll try turning those right the way up, and then maybe forward and backwards. I'll do those a little bit slower as well. Probably doesn't need to be as slow, but it's just to try different settings, see how it works for you. I like mine to be really slow. I never just blast the thing around. I just want it there for filming. Let's see, does it change? No, it's not changing when I go from N to E. I would have expected that to change. So I don't know if you have to change it for each setting or if it's going to be the same for all of them. But yeah, it's just trial and error, fiddle around, and I'm sure I can get this to be filming exactly how I want it to film. It seems to have everything it needs to in the menus there. So yeah, great. Let's look at the other things it can do. So a quick look at the other modes of this thing then. As you can see, I have pulled the legs off, and in place of those I can just very quickly slot a handle on one side, and there's a little blanking plate that goes in the other just for neatness, and I suppose to stop any possible rain or whatever if you're out in the rain. Going in there, click the top back on, and you've got yourself a lovely little handheld stabilized camera. So 2 modes in one. I think that might be a really useful thing to have. And actually it's 3 modes in one, because if I take the top back off and take the blanking plug out, I can put this one in, and then I've got a way of attaching it to a tripod, and you can just then have this recording as a normal camera, but it's an intelligent normal camera because it's got the tracking feature. You can use that, of course, without the bubble on in its drone mode. But in this mode, same thing. You just click on the subject that you want, and it'll follow, and not just follow within the frame, but of course be able to move the gimbaled camera around to follow over quite a large arc. So yeah, that might be quite useful automated camera in some ways. But yes, I think overall, I think this is going to be a really good buy for us, having something that can fly over water, and hopefully I will never lose a drone to the ocean again, which would be good for the ocean and good for our pockets. So thanks for watching as ever. I will put some details in the comments there, and in the description of where you can maybe get one of these if you want one of these. They know I'm doing reviews, so I'll see if I can get a discount code for it as well. And do like and subscribe and all those good things. Thanks for watching.